when rappers do, like we talking about megastar rappers do duo projects, the numbers don't equal up to the same as they do when they do solo projects. That math ain't mathing to me. It don't make sense. It don't, and it's not just to pick on like YB and the baby and them doing 30,000, because I think numbers shouldn't even matter. Really, I'm old enough to remember just going to buy a mixtape from whatever stand in the flea market or in the mall, wherever the case may be. You ain't know how many other people bought this mixtape. It was just fire. If you liked it, you seen rappers on it that you like in the jump. It is what it is. Like the original Gangsta Grills, when you bought a Jeezy's Trap or Die or Wayne Drought, you didn't know how many other people was listening to this. You realistically, to be honest, you kind of was happy that if nobody else wasn't hip. So when all you and all your friends got in the car and you be like, oh, what's this? Who is this? That was a thing at the time. But we live in that era now where you trying to make numbers a thing, but it's just like, is numbers really a thing, or is it really the labels buying the numbers when they do solo projects and we don't have to split the money? Even you could tie back into when Drake and Future did. Drake almost do half of, a low number for Drake is what, $500,000 the first week? Bro, I don't even know if that Drake and Future don't scratch like 1 something or 2 something. Let's say if it did 250, I don't know, I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head. Or we can go back even to like Future and Uzi. Uzi last project he did solo by himself, he did like 350 the first week. How him and Future probably averaging like 150 per project. Matter of fact, when Future threw out the 2 projects back to back, I think each one of them did like 1 something. Make that make sense to me, for they barely can like do 120 together. That math don't make no sense to me unless it is, hey, I'm a label. When my artists do solo projects and I ain't got to split the money with, let's use Atlantic and Interscope. Baby on what? Interscope, Young Boy on Atlantic. When we don't got to split the numbers, I'm going to juice up the numbers and buy them all wild and crazy. But when we got to split profits with somebody else, I'm not going to put no money into this project. I'm not going to juice the numbers up. That's all it can possibly be, because you can't make this make no sense to me to sit here and say, that's just like if we was talking about marriage. If me and my wife get married and she worth 500 million and he worth, this was like Jay-Z and Beyonce when they first got married. Oh, well, we equal our thing together and now we work for Billy. But, But I do 100 or something and I do 100 or something solo, and we do something together, we do 30. Bro, that math don't even make sense. Like, come on. But again, it's just the era that we live in where y'all trying to make the numbers make sense and they don't even make sense. Because it's just like, all right, whatever. But we don't talk about it when it don't make sense. When it's in favor to it to make sense, we make them want to make sense. That's even like, just real quick before we get in, I promise you we're going to get right into this Lil Durk project. Give me one more second to kind of get those numbers things off. It's kind of even when Nicki was talking to Joe and she was saying how like she was getting frustrated with the numbers thing, but it was just like, bro, you are on the label who added onto the number thing. We're the number one. Oh, every time she had high stats, when they counted in her favor, you always wanted to show them. It's like, we can't pick and choose when the numbers count. Me personally, as a fan of music, I don't care about the numbers. As long as I like the music, I like the music. Because don't get it twisted, I really like that the Baby and YB project. I like, to be honest, like that Bestie Joe, like I was, soon as when the Baby put that joint on his YouTube channel, I listened to that joint like 30 times. I really like, in that hit, like I like them songs, like them joints was still straight. It does, that number didn't deter me from still not liking that project. I still like that project, and it's just, to me, it's just like, I hate that people pick and choose when they want to celebrate the numbers, bro. They shouldn't matter to you at all. If you're to your core, what you want to tell people, oh, I do it because I want to express myself and I want to sit here and I do it for the fans. I just want to connect with my fans. Then, bro, stop talking about them. You shouldn't talk about the numbers at all. Because like I said, when rap was at its core, when mixtapes was at their core, when you went to go buy that mixtape, you never knew how many other people came and bought that mixtape. You either liked it or you didn't. When Jeezy Trap or Die is a classic mixtape. That was a mixtape he was actually given out in Atlanta. When it got bootleg further up north, because I'm in the DMV, you had to buy this. This was like a word of mouth thing, all like the Snowman, boom, boom, boom. I remember when Jeezy first came to the city, he was off the 40,000 for a show off of word of mouth. It had no numbers attached to it. Nobody knew how many albums he sold. Like, that's like one of the corniest trends that I cannot wait for it to be over. But anyway, let's get into this Lil Durk project. Lil Durk, to me, I would go out on a limb and say he may make some of the best. He may be the top tier of Pain music. And I don't necessarily know if we feel Durk Pain more because it's kind of on paper. You know the depths that he's talking about behind each one of these songs. Like, we know that his brother passed away, we know Vaughn passed away, we know Newski passed away. So those, like, because you know how these people traumatically died or were killed, I don't know if it makes these songs and these lyrics that much relatable. Because when some other rappers could be rapping the same pain, But because we don't actually know the names or the stories behind some of that pain, I don't know if they don't hit as hard, because it's just like, even when he first come in the joint, the very first joint started from, and he telling that story about his grandma's house and saying how Newski used to like in the basement. So it's just like, you kind of like, damn, this really was his real live cousin. You kind of wonder like how much that really haunt him to be like, damn, this person is somebody I used to actually share a house with. We used to go to grandma's house, and I may be in one room and he may be downstairs in the basement. So it's kind of like him painting that picture makes you kind of be like, you can understand that pain, because I'm all sure that you may have some form of relative. It may not be a brother or sister. It could be a cousin. Like in this case, this is his cousin, where you kind of can picture like, damn, if I'd have lost my cousin that I used to spend every summer with, how that would make me feel. So it makes it way more relatable. That song, and that's just that line when him talking about Newski used to be on the couch, that right there kind of hit you and be like, damn, this could easily be any of us. And if you old enough, you may have lost, maybe not necessarily a cousin, but maybe an aunt or a grandmother, something. It makes those lyrics hit a lot harder because they're way more relatable. And I think that's one of the things that nobody can never knock from Durk. Like, he know how to just touch you a whole lot different when it come to that pain. Like, you just be like, even when he's sitting here talking about just like necessarily, you might not even have to pop no perks, because listen, I don't want no kids to go do that. But when he just telling you how he's coping with his pain, it's kind of like, you understand it, because it's just like, after you listen to every song story to story, it'd be like, damn, bro, how you even realistically in the studio rapping? And I think the very next song, what was the next joint? Yeah, Head Taps. And he was just sitting here saying, like, even when I'm in the studio, I don't want to make songs that make when niggas in the studio I'm with and they bobbing their head. Nah, I don't want you to bob your head, because that means you ain't feeling it. It's too joyful. I want you to feel this, because if you feel it, I know the people, the rest of the world gonna feel it. Because I'm talking about you. So I want you to, if you don't feel it, when I'm talking about it, ain't nobody else gonna feel it. So the people in this room, I don't want you tapping your head. I want you to feel this to your soul, to your core, where you really could be like, nah, he really talking that talk. Like, that's one thing you can't knock from Durk. Like, you can sit here and say whatever you want. And I even seen other people who was like, oh, you was looking for him to diss. Why? Like, bro, that him dissing Young Boy a whole project, that it would date itself. Because you're not gonna go, it don't matter how, this perfect example. Let's use this for example. That back-to-back Drake versus Meek Mills, maybe one of the greatest diss songs of all times. But how often are you going back to listening to that right now? You're not listening to that, because it's dated, because that beef is over. So when that beef is over, you won't want to know. I'm not going to waste my whole album in a project talking about that. But people deal with death every day. That's one of the smartest things you cannot never take away from Durk, because he understands his audience and he really understands the streets. And that's why he stand on, I'm the voice. When I'm talking to you, you're going to feel what I'm talking about, because I'm not talking above you. I'm talking directly to you. You can relate. You can find some way. You might not be able to relate to the names that I'm saying, but the way I'm telling you I'm coping with this pain, the way I'm telling you what's going on in the circumstances I got to deal with right now, you're going to feel that. Even in the jump with the, what's that next jump? I'm going to skip the high jump. Shootout at my crib. When he even talking about, I had to pay for some security, because y'all, I'm not about to let y'all laugh at me and me get locked up. If you see me get locked up for something, it's gonna be for me behind some perks. It's not gonna be for me murking somebody at my crib. Because then y'all gonna try to have, you had a last laugh then and be like, oh, he's a dummy, he should have got security. Yeah, don't worry about it. You're not gonna have to tell me that I'm a dummy, that I should have got security, because guess what I'm gonna do? Go get some security. And just even his rap and his love for his girl, rapping his love for India. I think realistically, of course, for men, it's the toxic thing to be like this machismo thing. But bro, after you kind of see enough success in life, or you go through enough in life, which Durk has, bro, he done went through so much. Bro, that money and hitting a bunch of hoes, bro, how that's really gonna hit for you? You gonna eventually be like, no, I need this person who's gonna ride or die with me till the wheels fall off. It is what it is. I appreciate that. I think that comes with pain. I think that comes with authenticity, because that to me would be fake if he's sitting here been in the shootout with his girl and he rapping about having a bunch of thoughts. Like, come on, that wouldn't even make sense. Like, because then I look at you like everything else you rapping about is corny, is non-believable. Like, rap your truth, and that's what makes Durk. And I think that's where it don't matter what trolls gonna say on the internet. Your point don't even matter, and that's why he has the test of time. Like, think about where Durk started off in early 2010, when it was Chief Keef and it was Lil Reese. And don't get me wrong, Chief Keef still, that last Chief Keef album, I love that joint. He got endless hits for days on there. But again, that don't have nothing to do, going back to my earlier points, don't have nothing to do with numbers. That don't take away from, like, to be honest, if we talking about hits, and for me, when I judge hits, I like to work out, I like to run. I judge like, can I listen to this? Can I listen to this yo nonstop while I'm working out? That last Chief Keef project, of course I can. But if we gotta go by numbers, then you're gonna still sit here and say Chief Keef the album was still his biggest project to the date. No, I fuck with that. Like that, how you kick and all that, bro. That project really slapped. But the numbers not going to match that, but that don't knock who Keef still is. Chief Keef to me is still a legend. Chief Keef still going to have to be in top 5 influential rappers of all times, top 5 rappers from Chicago of all times. Like, come on. So it's just those little things where you kind of got to just pick and choose the battles when we talk about numbers again. I don't care that Durk did 120 because I still think this album, regardless from beginning to end, slap. Maybe outside of the last jump, the Broadway girls jump, like I could have did without that, but I get it. That goes into the numbers thing. That's the label telling you, oh, you need a little bit more crossover people. And I get it because realistically, for safety purposes, you do want your favorite rappers to become bigger because you don't want Durk to have to keep going to hole in the walls in your favorite city. The city you live in, you don't want Durk to keep having to go to the lowest totem pole. No, you want him to be able to do arenas. So I get it. Realistically, you have to reach a broader audience to be able to fill up arenas. Because just the hood will have you just in whatever hole in the walls a city offer you. And that's going to have a cap space. And that's going to have a safety space. The bigger you want, you kind of realistically, I want a little bit of room for me in the audience. Because now that helps me prevent me and my guys have to jump off the stage and do something. It prevents a lot of stuff because if people want to throw stuff, niggas want to grab you, you're not in arm's reach no more. It's a gap. The bigger the venues, the bigger the gap is between you and the crowd. So, like I said, let's get back into this project. To me, two of my favorite songs go back to back: Golden Child and No Interviews. And again, it just goes where you can tell. I'm gonna go to No Interviews. I may be bouncing around from song to song because I feel like a lot of them in sync with together, and that's what makes it a good album. Even in No Interviews, John, when he was even saying, like, letting niggas know, yeah, like, I had Pooh Shiesty in the hood, gave him his Glock with the stick on it, whatever the case may be. But then he even said on that same line, I put niggas on and vouch for niggas, but I watched them sit here and post niggas that I'm dissing me. I seen you post them on your Twitter page. And that, again, I think that may be, like, for some people, it may go over your head when he talking about, or you saying like, oh, he ain't digging, because I'm sure each one of y'all that's watching this video right now, you done had your friend who sit here, or even if we were tied in a relationship, how you be like, oh, I'm over that girl, whatever the case may be, off, I'm over that dude, and then you go back and tell them to your friends, and then they see you with that person again, like, damn, I thought you was over that person, but I thought you was my dog, like, I stamped you out, maybe you did a verse for you, I shouted your project out, and you posting his joke, like, how that work? It's kind of, that to me, I get it, but that shows you the human in him. Those things still, like, I'm not too big. I don't make enough money where I'm going to not feel some type of way because you tweeting a nigga that I'm beefing with. Like, how that makes sense? So I get it. Again, that was No Interviews. I'm probably debating between No Interviews and Golden Child, which one is my favorite jump. The Golden Child, he was sliding on it. Like, it's just when he in that pocket and he really just talking to you and you hear him, like, he just, again, just coping with his pain and telling you how he dealing with his pain. Those are the standout jumps to me. Like, I'm not mad that he didn't come on here and give me a bunch of Hellcats and Trackhawks, because I feel like those, when he give you that, it's a time frame on that, because it's just like, realistically, I only can listen to this in the gym, I only can listen to this in the club. But when you giving me pain, you giving me feelings, you giving me emotions, I can listen to that early in the morning, which I wouldn't probably recommend for too many people. If you're younger, I get it. Your brain probably just function that way early in the morning. But off the late night, that ride home and you on the Beltway and ain't too many people on, you can listen to it and you can kind of just really vibe out and let your feelings and let your emotions kind of talk to you. The standout feature is the jump with him and Gunna, but I'm going to get to that, what happened to Virgil. But Petty 2 with Future, bro, Future is absolutely the top tier king of just saying some OD toxic shit that just like nobody else can say but Future. Because when Future had that line, they popping playing bees like they perkies. I'm like, dog, who is this nigga? Like, what is wrong with Future? Like, what? And I'm not gonna say what was he thinking about, because it's Future. So I'm realistically, to be honest, that's probably realistically Future's real life truth. He rapping his truth. He's rapping his honesty. That's Future, and that's why people, for that toxic type of music, Future is the GOAT for that. Like, Future is, like, you cannot get no more toxic than Future. Because you have to live this shit to rap that. You can't just make that up, bro. Like, that could have never came across your mind unless you really was just, that happened. Like, damn, I just hit like 5 jumps and all of them had a pop up plan B. Like, you really think about what this nigga said. He just said they are popping Plan Bs like they Perkies. And you got to think about listening to and tying it in with this whole Durk project. Think about how many times in these songs he telling you he popping perks and he dealing, coping with his pain. For this nigga Future to come out and say they popping Plan Bs like they Perkies, I'm like, dog, this nigga is crazy. As soon as I heard that line, I'm like, yeah, this shit is crazy. But going into the next jump, probably like I said, the What Happened to Virgil jump with him and Gunna. I think realistically, listening to that form of melodic shit, like that cadence, it's like matter of fact, real quick, just to double back onto that Petty 2 with Durk and Future, right? I don't know if y'all remember what's the joint project, that OTF jump, when it was like that little that's that turkey talk. He did that same little, and that's when you kind of smart and you be feeling like, I don't know if this song got as many ears as it should. Like, probably diehard Durk fans heard it, but like the casual Durk fans who probably just looking for the album and just now you want, because you hearing the back and forth, now you want to tune into him. I'm not gonna let that good cadence go to waste. So I don't feel like Turkey Talk, people appreciated Turkey Talk like they did. So I know they gonna see a jump with me in Future. I'm gonna use that same exact cadence. I know you're gonna appreciate it a lot more because Future on this song with me. So just that same little turkey, that little turkey, whatever season of Turkey Talk, I can't remember exactly on the top of my head with the name, but I know it's Turkey something. That same little it's that same cadence on Petty 2. But anyway, getting back into this, What Happened to Virgil. I was kind of like, damn, could he have said somebody else's name, like one of his people's name? But I think it makes it more relatable because it's just like, realistically, Virgil's, rest in peace to Virgil, I think his death was so abrupt, like nobody kind of knew what he was going through. So it does make it more, again, we're talking about relatability and talking about just like even speaking on like dealing with death and kind of like how the older you get, you will see like people pass away and you kind of be like, damn, what happened to them? I didn't even know there was anything wrong with them. So I get, and especially even if you kind of want to tie it in like on some shallow, just how many people in the fashion world can relate to more him using Virgil name than if he used one of his homeboys' name. Because so many, Virgil impacted so many people with the Off-Whites and with the Louis Vuitton stuff. So realistically, that song may end up getting played in other places did a Durk song normally wouldn't get played in. So that's kind of smart way, but you giving top tier melodic Durk. Like that's one of the most melodic songs on that actual project. And then of course it makes sense for him to put Gunna on there, because Gunna is one of the most melodic rappers out right now. And Gunna is coming off a very hot project. So it made a lot of sense. So again, man, I feel like this Durk project is low-key flawless. The only song that was kind of like, to me, maybe the Grow Up and keep it on the speaker. I like how he doubled up the songs and it was like a long jump, but it was just like, maybe if he would have rapped harder, like the tempo and pace of how he actually rapped on it, I think having a song that long, because you kind of can't have a song that long and then it's not like aggressive, like Meek Mill's level of rapping, like that real aggressive Meek, or even that aggressive Vaughn style of rapping on a song that long. Like you're gonna double up a jump, like give it that aggressive flow and not like the kind of laid back, like kind of blah flow. Like that was like, it was just cool, but it wasn't nothing crazy. I'm sure the women gonna eat up the difference, John. And like I said, if you are a real Durk fan, you gotta appreciate Durk doing songs with female artists, because realistically, to me, the turning point for Durk's career was My Beyonce featuring Dej Loaf. He may not have liked it, but that was like the best fake relationship of all times. Like that little pocket that they was in, I think that was like the turning point for the better for Durk. And I think a lot of rappers have that battle with how many girl songs should they cater to. Because I've watched interviews when Wale and Fabulous get upset when interviewers be like, oh, you're a girl, like you make good girl songs. They like that's your bag. When people put you in that bag, they get very defensive and very upset with it. Where I feel like with Durk kind of be like, I'm not going to shy away from that because y'all know I can do that street shit top tier. But I got a huge women fan base. I I can't shy away from that. How? It wouldn't make sense. Financially, it wouldn't make sense for me to turn my back on my female audience. So who is the biggest female R&B artist right now? Of course, you could probably debate it and sit here and say like her or SZA. But right now, Summer Walker has a more recent project than all of those females, so it makes sense. Hey, why not? Let me do this joint with Summer Walker. And I feel like it almost played on. I couldn't remember where I heard that, like that pocket and that cadence before, and it kind of was killing me when I'm listening to it. Like, damn, I heard this before. Like, was this on the Summer Walker project? I think because she had Durk on. I can't remember, but I'm like, I feel like I heard that, like that little pocket and cadence of that song before. But it was a cool joint. I'm sure the women will eat it up. The Federal Nightmares joint, and if you follow Durk's career, you kind of know that he is going back and forth. Like, he has an open case right now. And I feel like Durk has had friends who kind of like then switched up on him. So even just him talking about that, like, that ain't over. Like, and sometimes when people want him to go over, like, bro, I'm sure in the back of his head, he probably even think like, I don't want to go too far. Like, don't let me teeter the lines too far, because nobody wants to get this high in their career and go to jail. Nobody wants to do that. I don't care how it send your streaming numbers up or none of that. Nobody wants to be in jail where you can't benefit the fruits of your labor. So him even talking about it on that Federal Nightmares, I feel like that kind of like ended the project off right. And then he added Piss Me Off, which was one of those songs where I kind of was just like, oh yeah, this nigga Durk is going crazy. He must want to go to jail type of shit. But again, like I said, tying into listening to Federal Nightmares, you got to understand, like, he know what's gonna get the people attention. I'm gonna say some wild, crazy, outlandish shit that's gonna paint a picture too well, but then I'm still gonna kind of tell y'all like, bro, I really don't want to go to jail. Like, I'm talking crazy, but I don't want to go to jail. And I think even when he put in at the beginning the disclaimer on the aha jump, like, you never heard a rapper put a disclaimer like how they do in the videos. Hey, this is used for props. You never heard a rapper do that in an actual song. So for him to do it, he kind of understand like, yeah, y'all not gonna jam me up like y'all doing the rest of these idiots. I'm gonna tell my truth, but I'm gonna tell it. Let's be very careful with it, because I ain't trying to go to jail. And again, like I said, I'm gonna make sure I'm way more consistent with these videos. I'm not gonna hold y'all too longer. This was my breakdown on Lil Durk's what is this? My brain all over the place. 7220 project. And again, I think it was worth the wait. I think it was a great project.